Welcome to Rock Club's record album review of Boston. My name is Kevin Z, and I am a lifelong musician and music fan. I'd like to think I've gained some musical wisdom over my 50 years of listening to, performing, and studying music from among my many favorite artists. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my Rock Club channel, as I intend to review another monumental album each week. I grew up with classic rock bands like Led Zeppelin, Boston, and Kiss. I watched as new wave bands like Duran Duran hit big on MTV and television shows like Friday Night Videos. I witnessed the evolution of 80s alternative rock and hair metal and the rise of grunge. I'll give you my perspective on epic rock albums spanning across these years. I hope I can pass some of this knowledge along to my daughters, Sky and Ava, whose playlists include songs from my record collection and my first generation iPod right here. Another inspiration has been young folks from my workplace that heard playlist songs that I played and had never heard some of the songs before, and they commented how Generation Z could benefit from my knowledge of these great artists and bands. I'm reviewing artists' albums in their formatted order as they were originally intended to be listened to, so keep in mind these are my opinions, so feel free to comment, agree, or disagree. So let's begin. My earliest memory of the band Boston has me in my parents' living room with a padded set of Radio Shack realistic brand headphones over my ears. The cord stretched about as far as it would go so I could sit on this comfy chair nearby the stereo, listening in awe while staring at the front album cover. Here was this spaceship which I later discovered was in the shape of a guitar, along with other similar spaceships departing out into the universe as a planet behind them appears to be blowing up. The sound was amazing, and the songs that had me picking up the needle and starting over and over again were the last songs on side one, Foreplay and Long Time. I'm pretty sure there were some scratches on that vinyl record caused by me with so many needle drops. The Boston sound was huge, polished, and amazing. Already being a card-carrying member of the Kiss Army, I had to find out more about this incredible new rock band that came seemingly out of nowhere, because suddenly they were everywhere on the radio and rocking just as hard as my makeup-wearing costume heroes Kiss. Released August 25th, 1976, the album Boston was the debut of the band that we would come to find out really wasn't a band per se, but actually the brainchild of a genius musician, Tom Scholz. Having graduated from Boston's prestigious MIT University, Scholz parlayed some of the money he earned at his first job with Polaroid to create a home recording studio where he methodically tinkered with sound technologies, creating guitar effects, and making song demos of the tracks that made up the first album. Scholz would play almost all of the instruments himself except the drum tracks and bring in exceptional singer Brad Delp. When the brilliant demos earned them a recording contract with Epic Records, Scholz on guitars and keyboards pulled together fellow musicians Barry Goudreau on guitars, Fran Sheehan on bass, and Sib Hashian on drums from his previous band Mother's Milk to create the music live and perform their subsequent tour. It was Scholz in his own studio that re-recorded the tracks and worked together with producer John Boylan to create the masterpiece that is Boston's debut album. The album opens with More Than a Feeling. This is Tom Scholz playing what he described as a $100 Yamaha acoustic. Nothing fancy, but it sounds like $1 million. The first single released off the album, this song would take over the FM dial from the fall of 1976 to present day. It's still being played all over the radio today. Brad Delp's vocals are incredible, not only with his range, but his emotion. His voice is overdubbed multiple times, not only doubling his sung lines, but harmonizing in thirds, fifths, sevenths, making his voice, especially in the fade-out sound, just amazing. I know Brad had a tragic and sad end to his life. May he rest in peace. Track 2, side 1, Peace of Mind, was the third single off the album, a great rock tune about a young person trying to find their way and making a living in this crazy and competitive world. Although some things have changed, many facets still remain the same nearly 50 years later. Fantastic harmonized guitar solo featuring Schultz and Barry Goudreau on the fade out of this song. Track 3 on side 1 is the epic combo 4-play Long Time. Clocking in at just under 8 minutes, the track opens with a keyboard instrumental written by Schultz. When Sib, the drummer, kicks in with his smooth triplets on the hi-hat and ride cymbal, you knew that you better strap in because the spaceship is taking off. Being a young drummer, I spent hours figuring out playing along with this song. As the 4-play section fades back to what sounds like keyboards out in space, a dynamic kick drum builds to Sib's 2 huge snare drum hits, and boom, we have liftoff. An incredible guitar riff is next. I always love the breakdown section where it's just the acoustic guitar strumming and the hand claps with Brad Delp singing, "Well, I'm taking my time, I'm just moving along. You'll forget about me after I've been gone." On the third pass, it changes to this supercharged electric guitar on that same part. Tom Schultz would later go on to actually patent the guitar effects pedals that he developed for his sounds on this album, and his guitar tones are incredible. Side 2 opens with Rock and Roll Band, written by Tom Schultz with help from Brad Delp. It is the fictitious story of a hardworking band out of Boston that paid their dues and finally gets their big break. Playing all the bars, sleeping in our cars, and we practiced right on out in the street. It would become the band's opening song for live concerts for many years to come. And even though the song is basically a fairy tale story, complete with sampled in crowd noise, it makes you want to root for the band. And of course, it's another great tune off the album. Track 2, side 2, Smokin', is a fast tempo rhythm and bluesy tune. Smokin' is a good feel-good song that hints at a little bit of Token that was prevalent in the mid-70s, of course. Great breakdown section in the middle of the song, which builds into an all-out riff fest, complete with some Tom Schultz keyboard solos. Track 3, side 2, Hitch a Ride, opens with Brad singing along with acoustic guitar. It's a great tune about taking a road trip with Brad's beautiful harmonies throughout the song. The outro features an elaborate extended guitar solo and some hand claps added in once again, just like More Than a Feeling, for good measure. Track 4, side 2, Something About You, is a haunting Brad Delp vocal part before breaking into a straightforward rocker. Layers upon layers of Delp's velvet voice throughout make this a memorable song, and I'm sure a tough one to pull off live. I never did see the band live, but I've heard he was able to pull it off. The last song on the album is the love song, Let Me Take You Home Tonight, written solely by Brad Delp. What sets this song apart is its great bridge section with a great combination of not only acoustic guitar, but slide acoustic and also electric guitars and keyboards. The ending really revs things up with Sib taking the tempo double time and what sounds like a whole choir chiming in. Boston's debut album has sold over 20 million copies worldwide, making it one of the most successful records of all time. It is Boston at their best. Thanks for tuning in. and look for more Rokk Club record album reviews in the near future. Peace.